With this video, you'll learn how to obtain a time series of satellite and aerial images using Google Earth Pro. You'll also learn about useful tools that help with measuring acreage, getting location coordinates, and viewing height differences in a landscape. So the first thing to do if you don't already have Google Earth Pro is go to google.com/earth, like I've done in the web browser. Once that comes up, go to the tab called Earth Versions on the top left here and click on that. And you'll see 3 versions of Google Earth. We want this third one, Google Earth Pro, on desktop because it has the best tools for what we need. So you'll want to download Google Earth Pro on desktop and install it. So once installed, you'll open it up and it'll look something like this. And the first thing you'll see are startup tips. You can close those, and we're going to go to the top left over here at the search and paste in some coordinates, some latitude and longitude. You also could use a physical address there if you wanted to. Clicking search brings us to that site in Baja California, down in Mexico. And it's zoomed in a little bit too far, so the zoom tool over here, I'm going to zoom out a bit, and then I'm going to grab the image and drag it to the center. The first thing that you want to look at is the image of the date, and a date of the image, I mean. And this says that this image was taken February 3rd, 2021. But we want to go back into history and see some other images. Specifically, it'd be nice to find one that was 10 years old. So we can click this clock icon. It's also called Show History. And then this history slider comes up. If you click the arrow over here on the left, it pulls you back in time and all the way to 1985. Some parts of the Earth, the images go back even further. And then you can click the arrow to the right to bring it forward. And right now we're looking at an image that was taken on November 2009, and down here you can see it was actually November 20th, 2009. And it's different. There's more native ecosystem there. If we go back up to this slider and click to go forward, the very next image we have isn't till 2018. And ideally, we would have an image that was 10 years old, not older than that. But 2009 is close. So that is really helpful. And what we want to do, you can also grab this slider and just drag it over, is we just want to take a screenshot of this image, because if you try and save it using the Save tool with Google Earth Pro, it will not save the date. So make sure you take a screenshot that comes down here to the bottom. And of course, it'll get the top date too. And then do likewise for the image, the most recent image. And if you close the clock, the show history slider, you'll see that most recent image. So one of the really useful things to learn with Google Earth Pro is that you can measure things with it. So let's measure the site of this, the acreage of this site. What we will do is click on this ruler icon, and it brings up this window. And you could just measure a line, say in miles, but let's click on polygon, and we want an area. We want acres. We could do hectares too, but let's do acres. So what we will do is click on the first corner the second corner, the third corner, and the fourth corner. And now we see that this area is about 239 acres. So we can clear that. Another useful tool is to, since we typed in these coordinates, we already know what they were. But if you had a physical address, you would still see the coordinates down here, but they're kind of hard to see, and then you have to write them all down. And they are showing in degrees, minutes, and seconds. But what you could also do is go over to the icon with the yellow pin called Add Placemark and click on that and move that. Let's just move that to the center. And that would give us the latitude and longitude for if you didn't already have it, you could copy and paste that much easier. Okay, the third thing I want to share with you is a terrain tool. So I'm going to pull back and look for some terrain that is very has some distinct elevation changes. So now zooming into this area, and let's go over into these mountains, and I'm continuing to zoom in a little bit further, zoom in. Don't know what that is. Okay, so we're looking at a pretty flat image. I unclicked this terrain because first what I want to do in this bottom part of the left sidebar called layers, we will click terrain, but first let's have it unclicked. Next, what I'm going to do is push down the shift key, and with my my mouse, I'm going to roll the roller inside the mouse forward, and that is tilting the image. Now, if I click on terrain over here, we can see that this is this has some elevation changes. So for instance, if an operator were to say that they wanted to graze a native ecosystem like this right here, that it would be helpful for the certifier to know that this is potentially could be some problems with erosion because of the elevation change, and want to make sure that there is adequate monitoring for something like that. So these instructions are also written in the appendix of the toolkit. And besides what I covered, there's also some links to continue learning further about Google Earth Pro.